Well, hello.
I think it's mostly me, myself, and I here at the moment, but I would like to say if your earballs are still around, who watches the watch, thank you for following. Appreciate it a great deal, and glad to have you around. I know it doesn't seem super exciting what we've got going on here at the moment, but um, we have our, like everyone else, fun days and quiet days, and we're just sort of getting back into the swing of things. So, just very grateful that you have followed and that at some point you peeked in. Very, very grateful. Thank you for being here and following. I am Poppet. I've been saying this a lot, but we're sort of showing up at new and old places alike as we try and get back into the swing of doing things on the internet as opposed to just in the 3D. Um, I am the reader here on the channel, um, and readings are always available. Um, I utilize a lot of the standard tools, tarot, um, oracle decks, divining rods, technology, pendulums, that kind of thing. Although I do tend to be an intuitive reader more than anything, primarily because my main skill is mediumship, for lack of a better word. And so a lot of information that I receive, I'm sort of getting in real time as cards fall and things, and their cards make for wonderful confirmation, and they're also beautiful to look at, and are a common language. But the primary source for me in terms of receiving information is source themselves, or source itself, however we want to phrase it. um a lot of nights you would also find my sitter here. Her name is Pixie Dust. She is amazing. She is an empath in her own right and is having a lot of, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, spiritual expansion at this time of late. It's been growing steadily, just like we all grow, right? For a long time for her, but she's hit one of those growth spurts that sometimes can be, you know, uh, really exciting at best and really challenging at worst, and both go on at the same time. But yeah, she's a wonderful empath. She's a wonderful sitter. Um, she is an amazing researcher, note taker. She can do so many things simultaneously, and she's somebody that's usually here. Also, she does have a channel. She is an amazing artist. She does a lot of crafty work, and the things she makes are really creative and amazing. That channel is this. Pixie's channel is DIYs on the Cheap at DIYs on the Cheap. That, I believe, on the tube of you specifically. There might be something going on the talk as well. I'm not totally sure. But please check out that channel. She also has a secondary channel with her spouse, Mr. Dust, and it's called We Bought a Hoarder House. I think that's in 2 locations as well. And so please do check those things out. They're doing always fun, interesting things in both places. So it is a quiet night. There were a lot of private reads today and things scheduled, but we are trying to be here for some extended period of time, as much as possible, to sort of reestablish intention to be on the interwebs, as well as doing readings in person and working with businesses and things. And so it is a quiet night. All is quiet on the Western front because we got started so late. However, I'm still really excited to be here. And I hope to meet some new people potentially now, or that this just generates meeting new folks' energy the longer that we are, set our intentions and sights on being here, the more likely we are to meet new people. We've already met a couple of new, really fantastic people, actually, just in the like little bit of time since we've returned, and we're really grateful to have met them. And then a lot of our old favorite people have popped in and out as well. So that has been wonderful. Right now, we're just going to, I say we because I'm including myself. We're going to just have to tolerate me for the time being, uh, at least for right now. Um, that being said, I was sort of asking Spirit, like, hey, what could I be doing here? Like that would be useful tonight. Um, I really prefer to have a sitter, especially if we're going to read cases and things like that, unless it's something um, where we've already done a lot of work on the case and like it can just be an addendum to the pre-existing whatever we have worked on. And we do have a few like that, but I don't know that either of them they're both sort of at good places, stopping places. They're on pause as more energy generates around the circumstances, and we wait and see, what the timing is like and what needs to come next. So, I was sort of just asking Spirit, hey, what the heck do you think we should do? Should this just be a night where we just, uh, turn off the thing and go to sleep? And the answer was no. Like, if you have the energy, you should be there. And so I'm here. So they gave advice, they meaning Spirit, source, angels, guides, whatever you want to call your version of higher power, deities that are of love and light and truth and creation. And so I sort of said, hey, like what could we do that could be useful? I didn't like prayer like anything. And they said, just, hey, why don't we sort of like just sit here and see if folks come around, but in the meantime sort of start working on setting up a pick a card if we can while we go and wait. Hi, Amanda. While we wait and see who's popping in. And right now, one of the people that's popping in is Miss Amanda. So in the interim, until if and when someone would like to purchase a reading or ask about cases or something like that, what we're going to do is chit chat and set up a pick a card. Now, it's going to be on the topic of self-love, because that's something that we all could always stand to do more of, right? It's a really hard thing, self-love. So many of us are so good at loving everyone else and not ourselves. And, that part of that's because we hear our every thought, our own personal every thought, and know our every mistake. And so, we get a lot more of the negative information. Therefore, I think have a tendency, many people anyway, not everyone, but many people have a tendency, myself included, to, fixate on the things that they've done wrong. Whereas, with others, they are human beings too. They are making their own mistakes, but we don't hear their thoughts and we don't see the foibles in the same way. And so often it is a lot easier to love other people. Love is still difficult, right? Since it's a verb and, it means turning up at all times, like no matter how hard it is, for others, like it still can be a challenge, but it tends to be harder for a lot of us when it's loving ourselves. So the reading is going to be about that, about, as we're moving into, summer break is, just gotten going, really. Like we're like, well, in our house, we're just a few days in, and I think a few other people are like a week and a half in, but so we're going to do pick a card about how can I improve my self-love as I, enter this season of my life, this literal, in this hemisphere, summer season, and in other hemispheres, winter season, but as we enter this season. And so how can we, that's what we're going to be setting up a pick a card for. How can we best love ourselves and learn to love ourselves, and what is it we need to do in order to better love ourselves and better understand ourselves, with the goal of the advice to be um, a guide perhaps on like how to do better self-care, how to think about ourselves more positively, how to become our own best friends, and at the end, how to be able to do that to bring just more joy into our every day, every hour, every minute existence. So while we chit chat here, I'm excited to chit chat with Ms. Amanda, but I am going to still be like shuffling and setting up as we go. I don't think I've ever done like just set up a pick a card during a live before, but you know what? There's a first time for everything, and I trust my guides. Like they give good advice, and a lot of times I don't know where we're going. Like we've done some readings this week where it's like I don't know where you want me to start, but if I listen to them and trust, we tend to usually get there, and the adventure, the process of getting there is definitely interesting because no one knows what to expect, and then we wind up getting the information we need to. I really trust God, source, whatever word you would like to use for God, source, and all of the other beautiful beings that collaborate with God, source, around the world. And around the universe. And so that is what we're going to be doing as we sit here. But right now, I'd like to know, Miss Amanda's here. Sometimes the chit chat isn't showing. So this is Amanda. She just said hello and asked how I am. I think I'm all right. I'm happy to be here. And it's been a fascinating week of public and private reads. We've gotten to do a lot of cool stuff this week, like read a spirit that's an active spirit in a state prison situation, and we've done a lot of case workings behind the scenes primarily, but we have also met a lot of new friends and gotten to do some fun like relationship reads and given advice from source, on career paths and things like that. And it's been really diverse the last handful of days, and that's been wonderful. How are you, Amanda? I mean, I know like some of things that are going on with you, but what's new and what's good? Trying to decide. I need to decide which deck I want to use. I've got so many beautiful decks to just do the pick a card here. I know we're probably going to use a lot of Oracle decks for this advice. So Amanda says, my lower back is hurting really bad today. Hurts to stand or walk. I'm really sorry that's going on. Do you know why? Do you know why it's going on, out of curiosity? Okay, what are we going to use to be, eventually, I don't get to see them yet, but what are we going to use eventually to be the top card that people can choose from in there. Pick a card. I think we're going to go with like an animal spirit deck because I think animals are really, really good at like loving themselves without as much ego as we humans tend to have. And so it's a lot more of a pure scenario. So I think, animals would be a good choice. Okay, so Amanda had said, her lower back is hurting really bad today, her standard walk. And then she said, I think it's all the cleaning lately. Are you making videos again? Amanda has a channel here and on YouTube and on another site where she makes cleaning videos. And they're always really fun to watch. She says her kiddo's name, and she says it's them being home for the summer, and that's the reason behind the extra cleaning, which is understandable. And then she says, not doing videos yet, but I should. I mean, if it makes you happy, I think like it's really important to, spark joy. I know that comes from like a book about cleaning and minimalizing and decluttering and stuff. But, I think there really is a lot to say for, okay, I'm going to turn this off so that I can, and shuffle and not give everything away here, at least not initially. There's a lot to be said for of course, there are a lot of things, especially as grown-ups, that we absolutely just have to do, right? They're just mandatory and the timing isn't always up to us and things like that. However, if we are in a situation where we're blessed enough to have some choice and doing videos potentially could involve some, choosing as to when it feels best. I think it's always advisable to do those things when you feel happy to do them, like, or at least at ease doing them. Maybe happy might be a little too much of a large expectation, but, at a time where it feels right. It feels either like, since in your case it's cleaning, right? It either feels like meditative because you're cleaning some things up, or it feels peaceful because you're decluttering, or you're just happy because you like cleaning because you do. And you like cleaning tips and tools and all of those things. And, so like when that would be a great source of joy if it's bringing joy now. Or if, because you mentioned your kiddo and, doing more cleaning because she's home from school for the summer. Like if it's funny, right? If whatever it is that kiddos got into is sort of funny, like that would be a good time as well. If you're able to laugh at what's going on. And you have to clean it up anyway. Amanda says, lately, I haven't felt happy doing much. Yep, I'm aware of that. I'm sorry about that. I wish I could, reach in and fix that for you. But the truth is, and it, that number one, at the end of the day, if it's real happiness, right, that we're seeking genuine happiness and peace and calm, much like any other thing, like quitting addictions or getting on the ball about certain things. We have to do it for ourselves, now, of course, like this is a place where spirit can give a lot of wonderful advice about how to proceed and And that can be extraordinarily helpful for a lot of reasons, both in helping organize like protocols behind things, helping give ideas on like what needs, where to start, or what needs, how you can help yourself first, or the first step, or whatever. Um, and then also because it's wonderful and um, very reassuring that to find that there is a universal source of love that knows what's going on with every single one of us at every single at every moment, and that our loved ones on the other side know quite a bit about what's going on with us too, because they don't ever go anywhere, not far and not for long anyway. And so it's very reassuring to have that somebody that loves you enough to want to help give advice and uh, and insight. Sometimes it's a lot of insight into like their perception about what's going on, because they have a higher perspective. Even non-physical humans, right, that have transitioned have a higher perspective than we do, because they can see more pieces of the puzzle than we can. So um like that, um that can be really lovely and reassuring, and then also helpful. um the tricky thing is, though, right, when spirit and spirit's collaborators give advice, um it's best to at least try to take the advice as it is given, because they only ever mean to be helpful. They only ever want to love you and help you love yourself better, and help you love the people around you and have a more joyful life. And so, um, they don't just give the advice just to, you know, make me translate things, right? Like they and other people like me, they give the advice because it's intended with love, and because they're doing their best to lead you to what are the best choices for you. And so, I think people also need to be ready, if they're asking for advice. I mean, really, from anyone, right? Like if you have people around you that tell you the truth and you ask them something, you know uh, you better be ready to hear whatever the truth is, or you shouldn't ask if you're not, you know what I mean, if you're not ready. And I know sometimes when things are chaotic, we don't necessarily know, um, but like we all get to a point where things like start happening in patterns, where it's like, well, we keep asking and they keep giving advice, usually on repetition, because we haven't taken the initial advice they've given. And so it sort of goes nowhere, because it's a collaboration, right? Like they're collaborating with us to help us grow and reach for the things that we had planned, and things that we are here to learn, and things like that. Um, so we have to be ready to some degree. Like spirit gives a lot of advice, right? So it's not like you got to do everything. And you don't even need to do exactly how they say, how they say. It's not like they're really pedantic and say it has to be done exactly this way. Like that's not, in my experience, how spirit is, how God source is. But like if they're giving you 15 points or of suggestion, like got to be at least willing and ready to try to be in a position where um, you try with an action, right? Rather than just try thinking about it or try feeling about it. You try, um, taking some form of action, because the whole thing is designed to help, us and our loved ones. Okay. Amanda said, my mom told me in a dream to move on. Yeah. So, Amanda's mother transitioned in non-physical, over the wintertime, after the holidays. And, And so, you know, like with everything, that's been a process. I think it's interesting that she told you in a dream to move on. My like limited experience with her since she transitioned, um, and it's been limited because, you know, no one has wanted or pursued, like, you know, like an official read, like, you know, after that point. But I did run into her a few times, right? And so um she is still very direct. And so I imagine that that's right. Like in the dream that she would say, move on. I think that, you know, grief is a process. You know, there are a lot of aspects of grief that are sort of universal, but also like I personally believe at its core that grief is a whole bunch of love and we don't know where to send it or where to put it. And when it finally clicks, right, that we are eternal, that love never dies, that they're still around, people start to get to feeling a lot better. They're able to send that love somewhere instead of having to just build up in their bodies to a point where it's almost like to a point where it's painful. On top of the other, you know, really common, you know, steps of grief, you know, on top of all of that, there's also that big overarching, like, all this love and nowhere to send it sort of feeling. What was the dream like? Like, what else can you remember it? So Amanda says she wouldn't want me to be sad all the time. So what was the dream like? Okay, I'm gonna do this. Angels, archangels, guides, and ascended masters, God, Jesus, saints, deities across all spiritualities and religions that are of light and from the light, that are collaborators and part of God's source. Please come and help us situate this pick a card reading and any other readings that people might request tonight. Please help me to interpret everything that all the messages you're trying to send with clarity and understanding. Please help everything be for the higher and greater good of everyone involved. And then as we utilize certain tools and make certain points of contact, please do watch all of the pathways and entryways, doorways, and windows. And I'm going to put into God's and the angels, the archangels' hands that you know best who can come into this experience and be in any of our energy. So please only allow that which you approve of. And please watch over and protect all of us. And as ever, thank you, thank you, thank you for all of the wonderful gifts and advice and connectivity that you share with us at all times. So these cards here, please help us to find and please help us for this pick a card. Please select good representations for each pile that we're going to do in the pick a card that we're right now like working on the layout for. On the topic of how to improve our self-love, how to better enhance loving ourselves, how to do that, and which means through which to do that, whether that's self-care or prayer or other type of exploration or gathering with others, whatever it is. Please, help each pile be distinct and useful for the different people that will encounter and select them. And please help these cards to serve as an initial spark that help people decide what they might like to choose, which path they feel is designed for them as they reach for improving their self-love and therefore self-care and therefore overall happiness, peace, harmony, those things, please and thank you. So Amanda has said, I was crying because I missed her so much and she told me I needed to move on. Okay, so I was sort of thinking like, where were you? I keep getting more and more certifications to be here. I have certifications in things like tarot and distance Reiki and crystal medicine and things like that, and grief counseling and manifestation counseling, like life coaching for manifestation, life coaching for grief, that kind of thing. I keep getting more and more certifications. And so one of the classes that I've just decided to do, even though it's something I've studied on my own for a long time, but I want to see what another teacher would suggest and certify myself, I guess, is dream analysis. And they're going to, I think, use from a couple different schools of thought and sort of combine them. So that's why I'm asking, like, if you remember any of the details of the dream, like if you remember, like, where you were or what you guys were doing, or if she looked like a lot younger, or if you were a child, or like, that's why I'm asking, do you remember those things? I mean, I'm sure, like, with the dream so vivid, when it's you're saying right now you believe it's a visitation dream where your mom's giving you advice about moving on, so the details might be really useful. The details might be a form of communication as well. Okay, so these are the cards. Please help us have cards to start that represent, the options for the pick a card that we're looking at right now. Please provide us with an excellent initial cards to launch the energy of each option. And again, thank you. This is, again, please help us start the pick a card energy for each pathway off strong on the topic of how to improve our self-love, self-value, self-care, and therefore bring more joy into our experience. Okay, there's one. Let's see here. That's Hawaii 5-0. Okay, I need two more, and then look up and see what chat is saying here. These, we have some cards. We set up this pick a card. Okay, so you need me to slow down. Okay, I will slow down. I apologize. Oxygen. We just need one more key. And thank you. And our card to replace him with another one of the paths that can be chosen in this pick a card we are preparing. You're welcome. I need to slow down. Keep giving me that advice because my hands are making this difficult. Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay, so that is the beginning of the pile. Each pile, let's put the names away. Let's see what Amanda says before we move on to populating these piles here. Okay, so Amanda says about her dream. I just remember we were sitting at a table. We were both a few years younger. That's interesting. I want to get a reading soon, but I'm trying to save up money for it. Okay, well, that's wonderful. Can't wait. We did do quite a few readings back when, right? And I understand that it was a very challenging time, but they sort of didn't wind up being things you wanted to pursue. So the good thing about this is, I mean, we did get answers. You wanted answers about timetables, and the timetables were accurate and that kind of thing. But, you know, hopefully this time it'll be things maybe that resonate enough that it'll reach you. And maybe that's that too. Maybe like, you know, like when like you'll have the money when the timing is right, if that makes sense. Like maybe it's the universe saying, hey, just hang in there. We're trying to align you with the right timetable as well. But yeah, I would love to do a reading to help you. I always want to help you. Support your channels and all those lovely things. When you decide to get behind yourself and do the work, you do, I've seen you, Amanda, you do more work than most once you make up your mind to do it. And you accomplish a lot in really quick, you know, windows of time. It is, I think, you know, everybody, we all have different challenges, right? And it seems like in your case, a lot of times it's just deciding if you want to follow the advice. And but once you decide, man, I watched in the past, I've watched you change and accomplish certain things very, very quickly once you made up your mind, which is awesome. It's awesome because, you know, we all do things differently. But really, really, you know, once you, again, like it's not even about, I mean, you work really hard at it, you know what I mean? Like when you do your cleaning channels and things like that. And however, I really believe in your case, it's about having a really strong ability to, once you decide, like you can manifest really quickly, but you just have to really, in your case, I think, you know, blind faith is harder. I mean, it's hard for everyone, but I do think it's a bigger, we all have different challenges, right? So, you know, blind faith is a hard thing to leap at, but like, man, once you leap, you accomplish so much so quickly. And once you decide, you do all the work too. You don't like just take some advice and throw the rest away. Like when when we've sat down and Spirit has like basically said, hey, here are all the things, like, once you decide it's what you want to do, and that what they're advising you to reach for is something that you genuinely want to reach for at that time, like, you do the work. I've seen it. And that's not always common, right? Um, And, sometimes as a reader, it's hard. I mean, I'm the Lorax. I speak for the trees, right? The message isn't from me usually. Sometimes I'll give my opinion, right? If it's people that I'm friends with and that I've been reading for a long time, right? Like, I'll give my opinion, but I'll say when it's my opinion. And so when I speak for the trees, I'm speaking what source is telling me and doing the best I can to interpret it. So, um, I know sometimes I probably shouldn't get as frustrated as I do when people aren't taking the advice, because timing is everything. Being ready to take the advice is everything, and we all do it. I do it too, right? But like, it is one, downside to this type of work if you really love people, and I do genuinely. Um, I think I love everyone. Like, even people that have been terrible to me, I find a way. I have so many flaws, so I'm not saying, "Hey, look at me, I can love everyone." Just saying that's something that I just was born with, and so sometimes, because I come to love the people that I'm reading, and some of that's because I do love people easily, but also because I can feel so strongly how much God and their family members from the other side love them. I can feel the love, right? Like, how potent and beautiful and magical that they're like reaching across like a divide of language and physicality, and still sending out like beautiful messages and gifts of affection and love. And so when I can feel it so strongly, and someone chooses to not accept it, it can sometimes be heartbreaking. Now, sometimes I'm sure it's me not translating it properly, right? Like, I'm not perfect at all. And so that's why I'm trying to work hard to make sure that I do the best I can at translating things. Um, but that's one of the few. I guess there's a lot of challenges in every job, and this one has some, but that one's sometimes the hardest, because not only do you love the people you're working with, you love who you're working for, who is source, and then you feel the love they have for whomever you're reading. Oh gosh, it's so powerful and beautiful and touching and inspiring, like so many emotions that cause joyful water to just pour from my face. Um, and so it is sometimes then hard. Like, if it's like, oh my gosh, like the whole universe just gave you a hug and you can't feel it. And I'm so sorry. I wish I could do better at my job to help people feel it. Okay, so we're gonna so we're gonna do this pile first. Okay, so these go here for now. Okay. So for this pile here, guides, we need to pull cards that will, please, if you can help with that, that will keep a steady message going, whatever the message it is you want to relay via this card pile. Please, can we do that? And so if we start off with this, You guys want to start with how people feel. You want to go how they feel, or how to help them feel better, and then think better, and then actions. Is that correct? Or is it think, feel, then actions? See. Think, feel. Let's see. Okay, so you're saying think, advice about where to focus first, and then about how to what feel, how to juggle the feelings. Or do you want it to be thinking, advice for action, and then feelings? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Oh, the Ehlers-Danlos just acted up. It was like, hey, we're going to dislocate 3 things in your body right now. Okay, let's see what Miss Amanda said here. She talked about getting a reading, and then she said, you are amazing. Thank you. You're amazing too. You're such a wonderful, hard worker, and you're always reaching to feel better, and that's, I think, very impressive. Hello, Laura. How are you? And Amanda says, hello, Laura. Laura, are you associated with the new friend of the channel here? I'm not certain. I'm just curious. I'm glad you're here regardless. Welcome. Hmm? Well, we have several. Would you like are you looking for a reading, my dear? Here, hold on, let me move these cards over. I'm just sitting here pulling and setting up a pick a card while we have extra time. What can I do? What can I do you for? Like, I sound like a 90-year-old man. um, you've not been here before, is that correct? You're new here? So here, I thought so. Okay. That's what it felt like, but I just always want to validate. Okay. So these are the prices. However, let me show you the prices for, that's for on stream, right? Like for on stream reads. And then we do a lot of private stuff for people with a $40 minimum, or sometimes other forms of exchange, whether that's exchanging goods and services or energy or something like that can be worked out. But however, we do free reads for first time visitors. Can you give me an idea of what you're looking for? Are you, I mean, I have a link tree and absolutely welcome tips, but I'm not worried about, I'm not worried about the pay at this point. You're new here. Like, I think people need to get a taste of something, a little bit. Oh, I clicked on the wrong button here. Hold on. Before, like, I think it's only fair to let people make informed decisions, right? And so, I have to get better. Like, I get yelled at a little bit because sometimes I give a little bit too much away. I'm a great agent for a lot of people, like literally helping them get jobs and things and negotiate things. But when it comes to negotiating for myself, it's bad. However, the rule here is first time read is free because you got to know what you're purchasing to see if you'd like to book a private or have another reading or something like that. So can you please clarify for me? It'll help me choose like a deck and that kind of thing. Like, are you looking for a general read? Or do you have a specific question? Are you what are you looking for? How about that? Let's start there. That's a general question. Okay. I just need to know if you're what you're needing or wanting. What are you desiring? That's okay. No, it's fine. I'm sure, like, especially like when I drop out of people's lives all the time, and then I think I'm caught up, right? Because I just go right back in, and I assume that it just goes to where it's live, but then I'm always like 30 seconds behind. And then there's like an 8-second lag anyway from the streaming service that I use to the site, so it's nutty. Welcome back. I don't know if you heard it, but I just was saying, first time reads are free. Of course, tips are welcome. However, I think people should know what the product is before they invest much. So the thing was just, what is your question? Are you looking for a general read? Do you have a specific question? Um, do you just have a specific topic like work, romance, mediumship? Like what can we do for you today? I'm Poppet, by the way. It's nice to meet you. Okay, what is your question, my dear? Let me move my banner down. Go away, banner. There we go. I'll bring my little dragonfly down here to sit next to Love. I feel like he should be there. There. I'd like to know how F feels, thinks of me. I got many good readings about it and only 2 bad readings. I know it's bad, but I like to see what other people pick up different things. I will buy if we buy. That's fine. I totally get it. That's why I do, like, you got to understand, and I think you're totally right about vibes. There's so many different types of readers, as many as there are people that are looking for readings. Um, you did have a fallout. Okay, so F is the initial of the person we're talking about, and you've been read about it before. So, but the general question is, you would like to know how they think and feel about you. And so, the question I would ask is, I don't care too much about like exact horoscopes. I think they're amazing and astrology is amazing and like I'm learning about it and stuff. However, my guides do tend to speak to me using elements sometimes as symbolism. So, do you happen to know like if one of you is a fire sign and one is your water sign? Are you able to tell me that? and that's you. So you have a birthday coming up. Is that you, or is that F? Can I say F out loud? I'm sorry if I messed up. Ooh, you see, your whole thing. Okay, so but primarily your water and their air. Okay. Okay, so I'm trying to. That tells me to like what deck like to like that helps me sort of get a starting off point. So the question is, but I can say F. Okay, good. The question is, how does F feel and think, just generally, like what are F's feelings and thoughts regarding? Oh, I've got an alarm going off. Hold on 1 second. I'm not going far and not for long. Give me just 1 second. It's going to be how, generally speaking, how does F at this moment feel and think? What do they feel and think about you? And I'm assuming your dynamic together, right? Like, where did that? I turned the alarm off and then lost my mind for a second there. She lost her mind. That's why she's just a puppet. She's just a doll that's full of stuffing. Okay, let's see here. Stuffing and magic. That's what a puppet. That's what a puppet is. Okay, here. Okay, my tiny little bit of self-care has now concluded and we can resume. Okay. A little bit, get a little oxygen going in these bad mamba-jamambas. This is the first deck that Spirit selected. This is the Tarot of the Divine, just for everyone's information. It is a cool deck. Every card actually has lore with it. So it has like every card is attached to like a fable or a story or an allegory from all around the world. So they're really cool cards. Now I tend to be an intuitive reader, but you know, if we do need to consult my notes, we can if we want to know the exact story. But they're really cool. They're really cool cards, and they read well and they shuffle well. Like it's a nice deck. Okay, so angels, archangels, guides, and ascended masters. God, source, Jesus, deities from all over the world, from all religions and spiritualities. Please help us to read for F and L. Please help all information be for the higher and greater good of everyone involved and for our education. Please help me to interpret your message to the best of my ability to, again, be for the higher and greater good of Laura and F. Please and thank you. And again, the question is how, right now, as of right now, how is F thinking and feeling about Laura and their dynamic? I think we'll stick with the first question first. How is F thinking and feeling about Laura? How and what, I guess. How are they thinking and what are they thinking? How are they feeling? What are they feeling? We could just get a general idea and then we can go from there here. Okay, how are we doing? Okay, all right. Gotta shuffle slow. They were yelling at me about earlier here. So as I shuffle more slowly so that they can pop the cards, because I was moving too fast earlier. I think I caught that you are in the, are you in the UK? I'm just saying that to say, like, I think that's yes, which then I would ask, how was your morning? Okay, please, can you, how is feeling and thinking about Laura? Ooh, flipping. Wow, 2 major arcana. These are, you know, I've had this deck a long time too, so they're really shuffled. How is F thinking and feeling about Laura? That flipped on its own, so there we go. How's F thinking and feeling about Laura? Okay, I'm not sure. It's on its side. Does it, you guys want to go this way or this way? this way. Okay, thank you. Yep, see. You guys want this to be included with the bottom of the deck eventually? Okay, that's what I thought. All right. Now, can we please get a clarifier for each one of these? Please and thank you. Oh, that's the bottom. Thank you. Okay, that's too many. They're probably like, that was 3. Oh dear, you didn't sleep. Here, hold on. Focus on the cards first, because I hear I'm getting banter too from spirit, so I'm trying to focus on one thing at a time here. Clarifiers, please. Okay, I'll slow down. I think most people think I'm too slow, but apparently not spirit always. We're getting clarifiers. How does F? How's F thinking and feeling? Or, do that A. I can feel them fighting for it, but is it the bottom? No. Okay, well then we will see what's there and recycle. That's okay, thank you. That was very clear. And then this was supposed to be to go with the bottom of the deck. Okay, let's see what we have to start off. You didn't sleep. Okay, so now let me see before I look at these, what they were saying, because it was a lot. So your falling out is kind of recent, like to some degree, or either that or the energy is like really recycled. Is that what you guys said? Okay. Excited. That's fun. Okay. Yeah, to me, okay, that's recent to me. I don't know. I know that could be subjective, but it's recent. It's not this is not like, something grudgy, that's been going on for years or whatever. Okay. And this question again is, how's thinking and feeling, thinking about. Okay. Interesting. I mean, there's a fair amount. So you're clearly very informed, right? Like if you've gotten readings and like you knew exactly, like your sun, moon, rising, like you're pretty informed about this stuff to some degree, or maybe a big degree, large degree. I'm not sure. Probably so. So there are a fair number of major arcana here. So like excluding these, although there's a major arcana here in the additional information pile, basically there's 10 cards, and out of 10, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that right? Yeah, 4 major arcana, right? So that's, as you likely know, like if we're talking again, I'm an intuitive reader, but like still like that's a bigger energy, right? That's more like to do with, bigger themes in your existence and bigger themes in your relationship with F as well. Um So I'm interested also to see sort of where they landed and somewhat is in the support. Okay, thinking and feeling. Okay, so let's turn tuned in. It's about tools, all the tools. And okay, okay, that's really flowing. Okay. Okay, I'm going to ask for more clarifiers actually. Like I have a general idea here, but this is interesting to me a little bit here. Oh, we're just going to throw stuff then? We're gonna throw stuff. Did you guys want these? You want this? Okay. All right. I just really want the middle of the sentence fragment for each of these if we can. Please and thank you. Did you guys want me to switch decks? Not yet. Okay. I just would like the connective tissue, please. I see point A and point B. Hmm. I was really interested in this last one. Like, you guys super clarify this last one because thank you. Okay. A lot more major arcana came out, Ladybug. How long? Oh, you mean how long you're going to be here? You mean? Okay, let's see. This is interesting. It feels like they they definitely feel really. Why are you scared? Why are you scared? I don't think you need to be scared, but they definitely. I mean, like the first thing that I feel okay about them, just in general, is that they're pretty. They have they are pretty opinionated, just in general. I don't mean just about you. I just mean they're pretty opinionated. Some people don't formulate like opinions on anything, and they seem to have an opinion about everything. Uh, F does. Um, which is interesting. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because people don't have opinions about things that they don't care to think about or evaluate, right? So all of these strong opinions about you, um, or strong opinions in general, but this is about how they think and feel of you about you. Like, that means you're on their mind a lot. They really have thought about you guys in relation to each other and you as a human, like really have focused and studied you might be a little too extreme for but they're definitely opinionated. I don't know if that's your experience. Can you I don't like need you to give me answers, just a little energy. Like, do you feel that they are opinionated, yes or no? Like, I want to make sure I'm on track before if I'm way derailed from the beginning, like I need to know. Um, but their reading is very opinionated. Let me just put it that way. So, Okay, so it starts off talking about, well, it says it a few different ways, actually. I don't know. They try not to think much of things, and they have bipolar because he says he's trying to live in the moment as he can. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh like that. I'm not making fun of anyone. Um, I'm laughing like that because, like, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to me because, that they have to, like, focus and live in the moment. They're saying, like, hey, I really got to try to live in the moment because I am looking at so much thought here. Feelings too, right? But like so much thought. Okay, hold on here. In my notes here. It also makes sense a little bit too, because there's sort of repeating. You probably can see it already. Like there's some repeating. There's some repetition. Um, and this was coins. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I will. Once I launch into the information, it'll come a lot. A lot will come through, but um, I always want to make sure that I know what I want, like what I have a solid grasp on, like the whole paragraph. Okay, let's see here. Okay. What's 5? I was like, what the crap is my problem? Okay, so let me just tell you, like there's an overarching theme. Okay, welcome back. I didn't see. I can't from my streaming service see that you drop out. So I'm sorry. I didn't know you were gone. But you didn't miss much, right? I was still evaluating. Okay. So what's interesting is this is a really interesting sort of. Okay, since we're talking about thoughts and feelings of a singular person, right? Like that doesn't mean it's fact. I want to say that, first and foremost, because we're talking about, um, again, like thoughts and feelings. Um, and that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means like, you know, I'm saying that to myself to remain aware that, we're talking about thoughts and feelings rather than like this wasn't a question based in necessarily fact. It's opinion and so what's fascinating, and it's in every freaking row here, Miss Laura, okay, is they think, okay, F thinks really like a lot of you, like in the sense that like their evaluation based on this, right? And of course that's just based on like this is first blush here and like you and I are just meeting and blah blah blah. However, okay. So they think really highly of you, like, right? So okay, it's like they have a lot of wonderful things to say, like um but then there's always like frustration. So it's what I'm seeing, and I'll tell you specifics, but what I'm seeing is as an overarching theme is they think really highly of you. They really have like strong, affection and appreciation and admiration for who you are innately, right? Like who you are just naturally in as a person. They think a lot of that, right? Like they find you like intuitive um and they feel like, you're quite bright and have all the tools you need, naturally, meaning like you're smart and, you have a lot of energy and, um, you know, you can really dial in emotionally. And, um, so there's a lot of like wonderful things here, but every time, like, there's also an element of frustration. So it's almost like, um, now, can I ask this too? Is there an age, a significant, well, I mean, significant again, that's subjective, but is there an age difference? Because it's, this almost reads a little bit like, right now anyway, it's reading like you are the more youthful of the two, and they are a bit of a curmudgeon. Okay, there it is. Okay. It's not like, it's not like an insane age difference, but it is. Um I can feel like the energy where they feel a little curmudgeonly, right? For uh and so it reads as like admiration for your youth and energy and intellect and um but also there's sort of this, like running through that, like running through all the beautiful feelings and thoughts and beliefs. There are beliefs here that, it's not just like biased either, right? They deeply believe, like here, that you're, extraordinarily um in, like, you've got the high priestess here, right? um Sorry, I had written something down, and then of course I would lose my head if it wasn't attached. Okay. So, for example, here, we'll start off here. It's the High Priestess, right? My first supplemental was the Page of Swords inverted and the Hanged Man. Okay. So, right here, what it says is, right, like, my goodness, she is so emotionally in tune and intuitive and almost mystical in a lot of ways, and not in a false way. There's nothing here that says he thinks it's, crap, or that you're pulling stuff out of your butt. He believes that you're really sort of connected to the universe and divinity and all of this stuff. However, then it also says, but because you haven't, like, his, then again, this is where the opinion comes in, right? So it's like he thinks, oh my gosh, she is so talented and connected and united. However, because she hasn't made up her mind, like, to commit to that, in the sense that it's like, it's almost like you have all these naturals. It's just, that's what it keeps over and over again, right? It's like, you're intuitive and connected to the universe. You have all the tools in intellect, you know, you know, you have that in spades, right? And, like, you have like a really high emotional quotient, right? A really high EQ, and, like, an awareness of really how to be there for someone emotionally, right? Um, and then it also talks about how, and he sees that in terms of your dynamic together, that you've really put in the work, right? You've put in the work towards your dynamic together. Okay, so those are all wonderful things. They also, it ends on a high note too, which is wonderful. Yeah, I repeat myself a lot. But so he thinks these wonderful things, but then it's like, okay, she's really intuitive, but she won't make up her mind to stick with it, right? Like, she's really intuitive, but she wants to, like, she gets distracted, basically. She's brilliant and has all the tools she could need, but she doesn't always, like, hit the mark, like, in success, because of impatience, basically. But again, this is about him being older and you being younger, right? Um, and then it's like, you really, 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 are really, like, he really thinks highly of your emotional quotient, and your determination to be a really good partner. Like, there's actually no complaint about that. Like, in your ability to do that, um, aside from the fact, and in this case, this is him. He picks things apart, like, too much, right? He thinks you don't think about the details enough, and he thinks about the details too much and tears them apart, right? So he's the one interfering with that. This does also talk about, like, socialization, where you're in two very different places with that, right? Like, um, it's looking, at least here, like you're wanting to go out all the time, right? And have a lot of sort of what he would, some days when he's, feeling a certain type of way, right? He would refer to it as, like frivolous, right? Like you want to, like, go out and play too much, or go out and socialize too much, and it's sort of frivolous. But, all of those things are really small, considering that he thinks you're dazzling and intelligent and emotionally amazing. It's always, she just hasn't made up her mind. She's too impatient. And in this case, I'm too impatient. And then she wants to go out all the time. And I get the feeling he, I guess, doesn't want to go out all the time, or he's maybe a little less social than you are, to some effect. But again, there's an age thing. That's why I kept saying, like, there's a curmudgeonly, like, thing. But it ends here where it says, like, um, he really sees you're willing to put in the work on the relationship, and the Lover's card is here, and it's wonderful. He just worries, one of his worries is that, like, you'll get bored and stop wanting to put in the work, right? But it ends on a really good note about it being like, about things coming into illumination for him, right? So he's coming into an better understanding of you. And at the end of the day, even though these things are frustrating, he still, finds you to be, really dazzling actually. And, thinks highly of you. So I think he's also scared. And I think he's scared of the age difference. I'm trying to see what the guides are saying. I think he's a little scared of the age difference. So I do think there is a definite personality difference and something to do with the age where you have a lot more energy. You're not in a place where you have to have as much decided as he does. You know what I mean? Like, he's the one traveling and love going out. That's interesting. What? Because this right here. Okay, hold on now. He thinks you have this together and this together. Your emotional quotient is high. And here, this is where, like, he admits, like, you're the one that keeps the emotional thing together and that he's the petty one. And then, like, also, that everything is, like, really okay. And that, like, sort of like all of the, like, at least where he is in his thinking as of right now is that, like, things are looking up in regards to regards to you. And he feels like a lot of things he felt confused about, he doesn't anymore. And that, like, there's not any like information he needs in order to populate a decision that he doesn't have. I think this is interesting though, because I totally was way off right there. Because this is definitely right, and this is youth stuff, and you're definitely the emotional quotient person, right? Like, in terms of, like, having that. And also he acknowledges that you're putting into the work as the Lovers, and just worries about longevity, and then feel like they have the answer. So this is him though, you're saying. Hold on here. It's opposite. He's traveling and like going out. Okay, I'm the one who doesn't like socializing. Trying to figure out why, because all of this goes and this doesn't. Why? I mean, I'm not a perfect person, so I'm not expecting myself to be perfect, but, like, it jumps out then if this is the opposite. Is his going out? It's not. Okay, guides, can you help me? Because I got this wrong, so I'm trying to understand where I derailed. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm getting, and I think, I mean, you might wind up telling me I'm wrong about this again, right? But when I asked, they were like, he's really back and forth on this issue, right? Like, there are times when he is, like you said, like, perfectly capable of being very social. But then there are times, like, I guess what I'm saying is, let me ask for a clarifier card, because I think I'm hearing them right, but I just want to make sure. Guides, can you just confirm what I'm hearing you say so that, like, we can move forward from this and get her more of a, like, this is how he's feeling, but can we get her more of an answer about, like, where it's headed? Because this is just feelings, right? Like, this feelings and thoughts, which is what we were supposed to do, but yeah, okay. So, okay, that makes some sense then, a little bit. So what came up when I asked for a clarifier, because what they were saying is, hey, to me, like, hey, Poppet, you were wrong. Like, this is him, like, sort of overindulging and things like that. But then when the coin flips, it's like he's out, social. And then sometimes, like, when he wants to be home, like, it's like, I don't know if it's because he's just burnt out or he's so, all of a sudden, I think it's burnout more than anything. And maybe it doesn't happen very often, but when it happens, then you're expected, it feels like, to be like, even if you have not like hyper social plans, but when he wants to like homebody up or isolate, you're expected to isolate with him, is the way it feels like. And so to him, it feels like, hey, where are you? Like, you're supposed to be here. But then when I asked for the clarifier about, like, can you clarify? We got the judgment card inverted, right? Which is always about like lack of self awareness. This would be him, right? This would be his lack of self awareness on this issue of, but this is definitely, I mean, I'm hearing him even having said it to somebody, right? Like about something to the effect of like, and here, let me get the rods out too, because that's a faster yes, no. But I'm hearing it and I want to make sure I'm hearing right. Like, okay, first of all, I apologize, guys. Can you please show us what a no would look like? Thank you. Oop. And a yes, please. Okay, thank you. And a quantifier. And then a directional. Okay, thank you. Okay, so what I heard you guys say is that like he has told his people, his friends or whomever it is that he, is talking about things to. He has said something to the effect of, like, when I want to be home, like, of course she's got something to do, or and so like it's sort of, number one, guides, in your opinion, is like, are we talking about a hypocritical, like, nobody's perfect, it's not like horrible, but is sort of a hypocritical situation? Okay, yes. And am I hearing things correctly when I hear him say to someone, it's like is it a dude friend? Okay. And it's he's saying something to the effect of like he wants to be at home and she doesn't. Yeah. And so, but that she's saying, of course, that like, usually it's the opposite. She's more of the homebody. Do you guys believe, like, is that accurate from your perspective? Yes. So then when this judgment comes out inverted, this is about him having like sort of not very like much self-awareness on this particular topic. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying he swings, when he like swings into this like need to be non-social, which is not, I guess, his. I mean, I'm sure you agree with her, but let's find out. Like, how off course I am. You agree with Laura that like he is the more out and about of the two of them? Okay. Yes. So when he swings and all of a sudden wants to be home, it's a big deal to him because it doesn't happen very often. Okay. And is it usually really like it feels like it's really based on like, I don't know, like, I don't know if it's not feeling like well. It's something to do with like not feeling well or feeling overwhelmed. Is that accurate? Okay. And then those are the like the few times that he wants to be, yeah, okay, at home. And so then if she's not like immediately aligned with that because she has things going on that are not necessarily wildly social, he gets upset and points out their age difference. And okay, so it's sort of not, okay, let me tell you. He has, okay, he does have bipolar. Okay. And the one doesn't, he has bipolar. At the moment, we kind of broke up, so I'm interested of that since he's constantly watching me. Yes, he told me to go out and do stuff like that. So he's told you to go out, and then because it, like, what I keep hearing is like, again, over and over and over, that when he, it's probably the bipolar too, right? Like when he does stay home, like, because it feels dramatic, like, a little bit dramatic, like when he does stay home, he needs, it's a need, or like in response to not feeling well or something. And then if you have something going on, like if you were at a class or a job or at a visiting family, like he's like, gosh, you're just out all the time, because he just expects, He expects you to be home the few times he wants to be home. Now, he does still think really highly of you. So you're saying, okay, at the moment you broke up, so you're interested in what's going on. Now, you're saying he's constantly watching you, and that I believe, because, like, you know, when we first started this, it was like, wow, he really, you know, he really has had some serious focus on you, like, to be so observant about, like, all of your nuance, that you're really talented and dazzling at all of these things, but that, you know, some things are up in the air because, you know, I think it's just youth too, right? Like, you're not expected to have made up your mind on certain things about like where, like, what you would do with all of that dazzling intuition, or you have the amazing tool set to do a lot of different things. So it stands to reason at 20 years old that you don't have to like have a roadmap that's exactly like lining out like what you're going to do with all those dazzling tools, because he agrees, like, that you're awesome. It's just like, it's sort of like this, why haven't you decided yet? Why, you know, why isn't this settled? And it's like, now, see, I'm an old lady, so I'm like a little frustrated with him that it's like, dude, come on now. Like, if you're a little bit older, you should understand, like, this whole thing, that especially if he's still really out and about kind of person, like, even though you are not, you still are, you should be understanding the mindset and the place that you are when you're youthful, in that, because you have so much dazzling skill and intellect and things like that, the world is your oyster. And there are an awful lot of things you can do when you have the type of like amazing skills that you have. Okay, what do you guys, okay, so she's really, we're wanting to know, I know like what we're wanting to know. Yeah. Oh, he thinks you're awesome. So smart, so skilled, so in tune, and then fully acknowledged that you have the higher emotional quotient in the relationship and a higher ability to keep sort of stable in the relationship. That's on him. And then that he sees, you know, then it was also about how he sees that, you know, how you tend to the relationship, right? And the effort you put in to work things out, and that you know, I'm sort of seeing reflected that you already understand something that, like, there are whole 60-year-olds that don't understand, that when they're in a couple, right, people aren't arguing with each other. They need to get together and argue, you know, and fight the problem together. It's the relationship has a problem, not the people, right? And so you already know that. You know, like, teamwork makes the dream work, right? I know that was so cheesy, but like, that you're not supposed to be like combative with each other. You're supposed to get together and combat the problem. And there's an awareness that on his part too, that like you really have a lock on that, and he thinks really highly of you. That thing about the socialization is really interesting though, because it just like, it jumps out as like a blind spot for him. But he does think you're awesome, like in every way, and smart and talented. Okay, so what they want me to do. Okay, I was just trying to listen. Really quick, they want us to. Where are they? Here they are. No? Okay. It's these. Okay. They just want me to throw a few about, you know, what timetable would you like me to ask about? Like, how do you want me to see, like, how it's going to go in the next month? Do you want to know about the next week? Like, what do you care about? Because they'll answer specifically, and we can validate it with rods. Do you want to know if you're getting back, or you're going to reunite? Because I feel like I think that's already going to happen. So is this about timetable more than anything? Let's just see. So they're sort of in separation right now. Guides, as I'm sure you know, and she knows. I just don't know. because I'm just a person. So they're in separation right now. Can you show me? Just show me like based on everything that's going on right now, taking into account that things can change due to free will and things like that, and happenstance. Can you show me like a projected like what their future together looks like, just like briefly? Okay. Oh, did you just drop all these intentionally? Okay. All right. I mean, because it's an answer. That's a very clear answer. And it's 5, so that's amazing when you guys do that. That's nutty. Okay. So this is the something heart, playful heart tarot by Kitten Chops, which is so sweet and cute. So okay, so it starts off with Temperance inverted, 4 swords, 2 of cups, 9 of pentacles, and then she adds extra cards to her deck. So it ends with the wow, you got it card. Okay, hold on. Let me see what you've just said. I'm sorry. Yes, he's called me awesome before. Okay. No, just him coming back messaging me. One person said he'll forget about me completely, but I don't believe it because 10 people said he misses me. He thinks of me so much he can't. Well, I mean, he does. He thinks of you all the time. Like he analyzes you. He won't move on. So how come 10 people see the same thing, but this person didn't and saw so much negativity? But I have like people with his name show up and synchronicity. Yeah, okay. Looks like a hangman. No what? I'm sorry. My message just showed up on the screen. I'm sorry about that. I think I hovered the mouse and I'm an old lady with tech. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, we can ask actually. Like, so you're saying you've asked a bunch of people and the consensus is so far, like what we've seen so far is that he thinks really highly of you and really likes you. And it looked good at the end there, right? With like the inverted, the moon inverted and the other card. And so this was just like a general, like, hey, what does it sort of look like? Do they look like they're getting back together, right? And so it looks like it's temperance inverted. So it's sort of like right now, like things are sort of coming back into balance because they got imbalanced. And he is sort of, well, I mean, I'm an intuitive reader too, but like he's sort of, he's sad. Okay. That's just the best way to put it. And then the 2 of Cups is here. And the 2 of Cups is, I mean, you probably know this already, right? Because you know all this stuff. It's better than the Lovers in a tarot deck. Like this is a more simpatico compatible, brilliant relationship than the Lovers ever could be because it's in balance and it's something that has a lot more longevity rather than short-term passion. Okay. And then 9 of Pentacles, right, which is about, the fruits are coming back into focus, and then the wow, you got it card. So, to me, it looks like one, like your guys are gonna, let's see. If you guys could do 2 or 3 cards about what he's thinking, regardless of like this second, like about what to do, not what he thinks and feels about her, about the relationship. Where is he about the relationship? Oh, we're just throwing things now, huh? Okay. He feels a little bit disconnected right now. We're talking about literally right this second. And wounded. But what does he think? What is his opinion on the outcome? Like, where does he think this is going? Whee! Okay. Back into teamwork. He thinks it's going back into teamwork, which is you guys, because he knows that you understand that. The collaborative. Going back into teamwork. And to what end, guys? One more. Okay, they're saying things, but I want to try to get like one energy cleared before the next comes through. They're coming back into teamwork, in his opinion. That's what's going to happen. Come on. Ooh. Yeah. Why is everything but he do? Yeah. No, like it's you're coming. Look, I'm dropping crap left and right. I don't know if you can see the imagery really clearly. But like this second, right, he's feeling a little disconnected and wounded. But what he believes and like what he's planning on is that you know are going to come back into teamwork, and then here you are again, like reuniting. Right here. And there's a lot, like if you're intuitively reading, there's a lot of support for that too. Like it almost feels like there's a better support system. Okay, so then I'll tell you. I want to pull universal of thing. It's just advice. And then are you looking for a timetable? Because with rods, we could do a timetable. I'm like somebody that can sword fight with rods. Okay, guys, you asked for this deck, so you want to give advice. What is your advice? He definitely believes that coming back together, that's something that she wants. They'll begin to work as a team again. What is your advice? What is your advice for Laura? Let's do that. What's your advice for Laura in this situation? And then we can use the rods to quickly see if you can do a timetable. That's lovely. Abundance. Okay. So it's an oracle deck. I'm going to read you the abundance card. If you could wish for anything at all, what would it be? What would you love to have and do? Relax for a moment. Bring your awareness to your heart center and imagine your perfect life in fine detail. Take your time, breathe, explore. Know that all is possible within the world of spirit. Allow your heartfelt yearnings and imaginings to flow forth from the center of your soul. As you visualize your perfect life, imagine you're planting the seeds of your future and that your wish is on its way to becoming true. Keep the vision alive in your heart. Nurture it until it manifests into your physical reality. Imagine yourself surrounded by love and light as you declare the following. And then they're giving you a thing, right? Oh, and it's all about, from now on, I plant seeds of love through my every thought, word, and action. All that I would love to be, have, and do already exists inside me and will manifest at the most perfect time. An aura of light surrounds me. My heart is an endlessly flowing stream of liquid gold. I am blessed and coming into my dreams. And then there's a little bit of background noise about, are you they're saying you need to sleep more. I don't know if that makes sense to you because you've told me that you're better at being home than he is and that kind of stuff. but they're saying you need to sleep more or get better sleep or something's changed with your sleep. We're talking about how we heal in our sleep and grow in our sleep. So you don't need a timeline. Are you guys going to tell me anyway? Like, even if I don't pick the rods up, right? Okay. I'm just doing it for me now. It's over here. So you guys are already telling me, so can we just do this with the rods? Okay. Starting today, which is the 18th of June. First of all, you do foresee these two L and F reuniting and coming out of separation and rejoining one another in a relationship. Okay, I thought so. And so then, I mean, to me, it felt like you were saying it felt like you kept saying 3 and 6. So from this point, from today, how many weeks before? Okay, I'm going to ask 2 questions since rods are hard. I have to be really specific. How many weeks from today do you believe they will, have at least had the conversation and set the intention to be back together? Today, how many weeks? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so within 4 weeks, you're saying like they will have had the discussion and the full intention will be like we're back together. Okay, and then in that same exact window, is that when they will officially be back together? Okay. Is it possible to be any sooner than 4 weeks? I keep hearing 23 days. Let's see. Today's the 18th. I'm looking at the thing. Come on, calendar. It should be the easiest part. Your tech should open right now. So let's see. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4. To me, I mean, that 23 days is July 10th. Can you guys just show us? Okay, beyond 2 weeks. So we'll start at 14 days since you said 4 weeks. Okay, so around 4 weeks. So past day 14, we'll start at 15. How many days before like the intention is set to be back together? So we already know we're starting at 15. So 14 days have gone by. Okay, and then so we'll do 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, it's 27th. They told me, so it's between 23, 27 days. Why are there 2 different numbers? Is it that like they will make some sort of, they'll be in different locations or something and decide one day, but then actually physically be together another? Are you guys in different locations? Like to the point where like if you said like, on the computer or on the phone or whatever, hey, we're going to do this thing again. Okay, you are in different locations. So there could be like, it could be like, yep, we're back together. I'll see you in 4 days. That kind of thing. Is that a possibility? They're saying yes, but I'm going to double check. So guides, you're saying it's most like, okay, is it that like they're going to decide to get back together and there's going to be a gap of days before they're physically together? Or am I just way the hell off? Okay, now let's reverse it. Okay, so if I'm way the hell off, can we go over here? And then if it's just a matter of deciding on one day and getting together another day. Okay, all right. Maybe he'll come back there. No, maybe he'll come back there. Yes, okay. Now where you are, oh, sorry. Okay, what the heck, man? So yeah, so summer, because I was like, that's definitely, I mean, that's definitely summer. Unless you're in a different location. Aren't you somewhere in the United Kingdom? Maybe he'll come back there. Well, let's just see what they say. So I don't have to know the situation for them to answer the question. Um, he isn't, but you are. Okay. Um, guides, do you, based on like everything you know now, and of course understanding like free will and blah blah blah, but based on the projections right now and all of the information you just gave, when they come out of separation, um, will do you believe, as of, at least as of what you can see right now, do you believe that he will go to where L is? Yes. Okay, I heard. Did I hear you right? Did you say like once they've come to an agreement, he'll come running? Yes. He's very like passionate. It feels like, and that's a good thing and a bad thing, right? Like, um, I guess what I meant, actually, to clarify by passionate, what I meant is he can be impulsive a little bit. Oh, okay. So let's see here. Um, guides, uh, in at this point, like prior to today, when they have been in separation, has F been really actively pursuing, trying to move on from the relationship with L? No. Has he, you know, tried that idea on? Like, I feel like he hasn't. Has he even like tried the idea on that, like he might, date someone else, or that they might, um, or that he should at least force himself to try to date someone else, anything like that? No. Um, there's I think there's some like flirting, but like they're saying yeah, see, they're saying like he flirts with everybody, by which I mean, like, I don't mean flirtation like sexual. I mean like how people can flirt with babies in a buggy, flirt with doggies in the park, flirt with little old ladies, you know what I mean? They're sort of saying that flirtatious energy. Is that correct? I'm hearing you right? Yeah. And so like there's flirtation. Okay. But has any of that flirtation been like him trying really hard to move on from Elle? No. Um, has it been difficult? Like he's not made he's not made an effort to try and move on. Is that correct? No, he's not. Okay. But um, does he feel like to me it doesn't even feel like, okay, I'm going to say this before I do this. It doesn't even feel like he wants to try, like, like some people might say maybe you should use this time to see, like, how dating goes or whatever, and he doesn't seem very interested in that. Like he seems pretty, is it fair to say, and I'm going to use the term obsessed but not like necessarily in a super insane way, is it fair to say that like he's relatively obsessed with Elle? Okay. And okay, so you're saying he just doesn't find anybody that measures up. Nobody measures up is what you keep saying. Okay, yes. Okay, they keep rocking them. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So so has he like looked at some dating profiles because his friends made him and stuff? Yeah. And then has there ever been a single solitary person that he's had interest in? No. He just really he was so full of shit because he is watching. Hasn't even been a full week and he's watching. What do you mean he's watching? You said that before, and just as an old lady, like big sister type, I was like, what do you mean by that? Because you're the one that said it, right? Like, what do you mean he's watching? It's not like he can't be following you around. Okay. I was hoping it was going to be something like that. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I know you already know it, right? I wonder if he thinks he's sneaky. Guys, so she knows he's looking at her posts, and can we confirm or deny that? Is he very, very actively following along everything she does? Yes. Okay. And just, is there any part, because sometimes boys are really dumb. Does he think that in some ways he's being sneaky? That's the feeling I got, that he felt like somehow, so really sincerely, guys, he somehow believes that some of the time she's not aware that he is looking at things. How is that possible? Now, there have been times he has made her aware, like somehow, like, I don't know if it's liking or whatever, right? Like, okay, you're saying like a little bit, but most of it is just like keeping an eye out, and lurking is not the right word, but it's just the easiest word. Yeah. So, sincerely, one more time, does he truly believe that she doesn't know how closely he's observing her? Oh my gosh, boys are so dumb. I mean, like, that stuff doesn't ever end, right? Like, I'm an old lady in comparison to both of you, and the man people in my life. There's still a lot of them that are like that. So yeah, like I can see, like, that he has like let you know a few times, like, a little bit, that he's looking, but somehow, like, how does he not know, like, if he doesn't like, you still can see that he's looking? And to me that just feels like a boy thing. Like, guys, like, this is just sort of a silly gender difference thing, right? Okay, yeah. So it's not like something where we need to like get him a computer course or anything. Do we need to get F a computer course? No. He's just he just thinks he's sly and he's not. Yeah, okay. And okay, also, just this is just from my own brain. So in the initial read, like he really thinks a lot of her intuition, right, and how smart she is. Yeah, we're just gonna keep agreeing, huh? And he really admires like her emotional intelligence and knows that she's better at that than him. Okay, and then and then also he knows how much effort she puts into her relationships, not just with him, but with her friends and loved ones and things like that, that she really cares and she gives high quality. That's what you're saying. Okay. And then that gobbledygook, though, about like her going, like about her not staying home with him. Like, is that at different times? Does he really believe like does it feel to him in those the first of all, are those moments random, like in terms of like she's home, more of a homebody, and he, like she's already told us that, but like she's more of a homebody, he more goes out. Okay. And so like, is it just that when he stays home it feels so dramatic because he never stays home? Okay, yes. And then if she's not there, he feels like, well, I thought we weren't going to be out in the world. Yeah. And sometimes it's literally like she's at the grocers. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You notice there have been times he's liked your stuff and times he hasn't, but he's still looking. You know, he's looking. Oh, I'm curious. This is just a nosy old lady question. Now, okay, guides, is he looking exclusively because, you know, he really, you know, loves her and he wants to know what's going on with her and he's just trying to keep up? Or um, is it primarily that he's worried she's moving on? So can we go this way if it's just that he really wants to know what's going on with her because he cares about her and loves her and wants to see what she's doing? Is it exclusively that he's worried she's moving on, or is it like a mixture of both? Which is the stronger energy? Okay, so the stronger energy is that he just wants to know what you're up to because he cares and loves you and wants to see. Yeah. Okay. Um, is there any part of him that is like watching because he's worried like she's going to turn up with a guy or something? No. But okay, let me tell you what I heard too when they said no. They said no because he believes you. Like he knows that you speak truth, and they're saying anyway, you've told him. You've said like, look, I'm not looking to like date or futz around. Like I think this is some crap that can be worked out, and so I'm not going to be wasting my time with other people. They're saying that that's true. Yeah, it can be both. And actually, a lot of times the rods would split if it was both, but stronger energy, right? It's not like 100%, right? But the stronger energy is he wants to know what you're up to. But he also really believes you when you say, you know, that he really like, unless he's having, I heard like they said emotional dip. And, you know, you've told us a little bit about that, right? Unless he's having an emotional dip, like he really knows that you're like an honest person and that you're forthright with him, and that he also, they're saying too that, yeah, okay, so they're saying too that you can be blunt at times. And so if it's not like you're somebody that would be afraid to say like what you were doing, like if you were actively pursuing something else, or if you were going to let him know, hey, I don't really want to, but I will if, you know, if you're not going to, you know, work at this, you know. So they're saying that that you're really, you can be blunt. And but he also, unless he is having like sort of a bad day where he's just sort of generally confused emotionally about a lot of things, um he knows that, you know, he knows really solidly that you speak the truth, and that even when it's a truth that's hard or difficult to say, you tell the truth anyway. Let's see what you wrote. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at chat. Yes, I did, but I also did post photos with the other guy from my ex because I wanted to make him Okay, let's see. What did he think? Is there a way you can? Did he panic when he saw those pictures? No. Do you know what they just said? And you'll have to validate this for me or not. But they just said that he didn't freak out when he saw the pictures because of the look in your eye. Like, in the picture, like there was some stuff that like some people might freak out about, but the look in your eye told him that, you know, that like this is not somebody. Okay, guides, can you confirm that? Because you keep saying it. So you're saying like he really did look in her eyes and know, and look at you're saying body language too. Eyes and body language told him that she really doesn't have much interest in that person. Is that correct? Okay. I mean, he was hurt because I'll just tell you what I'm hearing. I could, and I'm fully capable of being wrong. But what I'm hearing is he was hurt because he knew that it was you trying to sort of take a whack at him. Okay. Yeah. See, they're saying yes. Um, but he didn't feel too terribly threatened. I mean, like at least once he sat down and thought about it, because he looked at it again, saw the look in your eye, and knew that you weren't really interested in that dude. Is that accurate? Am I hearing you guys right? Yeah. So it hurt because you were swiping at him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that was the thing. It's like, oh, like she, direct hit. Like, she really sort of emotionally bitch slapped me with that one. She emotionally bitch slapped me, but they're still maintaining, like, when he's calm, he doesn't, it wasn't as much about feeling threatened as it was about you trying to take a whack at it. It was a sexual photo. Man, you wanted him to suffer, huh? Suffer. You're putting me through this nonsense, so I'm going to give you some nonsense back, right? How did you like, and you're genuinely not interested because it doesn't feel like, I mean, it feels like they're saying the truth, right? Like you're not really interested in the person in the photo, right? Like like that was totally a photo op that you utilized to take a whack at F, right? I'm assuming you posted it, right? Again, the whole thing, the whole he saw it because you wanted him to see it, right? And you wanted him to see it because you were retaliating. Is that kind of fair? Yeah. Now I don't know who that guy from 2 years ago was, but they're still saying you didn't feel half as strong about him as you do about F. And like I said, like my guides talk to me about elements more so than astrology, but I've studied some astrology, even though it's not my primary thing. And that's such a Scorpio thing to do, right? You take your little stinger and go. Which other comment? I'm so sorry. About it being old or being sexual or private? Private post above this one. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry, they come in funny through StreamYard. So above this one. See if they're coming above this one. Well, I mean, okay, I'll tell you. I mean, I saw the stuff about you. Yeah, it was an old pic with a former person, and you did it to make him jealous. There was hurt, and it was old, and you posted it privately, right? Where he could be the only one to note it, correct? If I'm not right, then I'm missing something. Oh no, hold on. Let me go find it. Okay, sorry. Let me I'm sorry, like it was way up on another page. Hold on. I see it now. Just ignore the native area and move on and not on anymore. Okay. 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 Okay, so let's see. Trying to figure out how. I'll tell you, like when you said something about that earlier, right? Like that it, like you had a whole bunch of good and then like one negative. Part of me wondered, and so I'm going to ask. Part of me wondered if it was, just if he was feeling up and down, both because of health, like health conditions that you've already been, forthright about, um, or if something in particular had been upsetting that day. It makes me wonder. I mean, I don't know. I don't know every other reader in the world, and none of us are perfect. We all get some things wrong, right? Clearly, like I didn't initially read that social stuff right, um, like they clarified, which was great, but I didn't ask for the right clarifier. Um, so it made me wonder if like that was like a fleeting feeling or if it was just way off. Okay, so guides, based on that other thing, because none of us are perfect, and none of us read perfectly, and yada yada yada. So, if let me make sure I'm phrasing it right. Okay, it's going to be two questions. Okay, so the first of all, the negative interpretation of this situation, was that negative interpretation of the situation because F was in a particular like energetic mood at that moment and was upset about something, and that information was flowing through the universe? Or was it just that there was operator error that particular day, because none of us are perfect and we all make mistakes? So that reading where it said, okay, actually, I'm surprised. I totally thought it was going to be something else. So we're going to reverse it again. So if it was just operator error because none of us are perfect, can now we switch locations here? Can we do that this direction if that reading was just way off? Or is it that the energy that day or that moment had shifted because of like up fluctuating emotions and health stuff and stuff? Okay, so that's interesting. So that's not what I expected to see. It was tonight? Could they have had like up and down tonight? Makes me, it's still, they're saying, like, I mean, the reason I asked that question, right, is when you said it earlier, they did say, like, well, like if, like, he had a really doubtful moment or just a rough emotional moment of sort of overreacting in his head, like that energy could be picked up on. Okay, so let's ask this question. Guides, that reading from earlier, in your opinion, based on, everything that we know now, of all the energies that F is generating and the thoughts that F has regarding their relationship with L, right? Is that reading, that worrisome reading, is there any like significant accuracy? Well, accuracy is the wrong word. Is that any significant energy that's going to remain active where it's actually a possibility that F is moving on? No. Okay. Now, again, I totally expected it just to be, we're not perfect and somebody, there was a little slip up, but it said something else. So was it just like he was having a combination of things, like he was having a doubting moment a little bit? Okay. He's having a doubting moment a little bit. And so are you saying that energy was that strong that that person picked up on it entirely? No. Okay, so then what are you saying? Okay. Let me make sure I understand before. Okay. So I want to make sure I heard you correctly. So you're saying that there was a moment, like there was like a moment, but it was like a singular thought or a few minutes of thought or whatever, like a negative thought that occurred. And did that occur like, in like the last 24 hours? Okay. Yes. On his part, but it was a singular, like worrying about, oh, I just heard you say maybe, okay. Did I hear you correctly? You said maybe I should walk away before she does, because I'm just going to get left anyway. Yeah. And then most times, like when he's feeling great, does he ever think like that in regards to her? No. Okay, so so then let me repeat what I heard you say, like about the whole overall thing. So what I heard you say was that momentary thought, like it wasn't the whole thing, like that L just wrote down here, like it wasn't, the whole thing wasn't accurate, but there was like he had a momentary worry or doubt, and that showed up in like one little point of the read. Okay. Yes. Okay. And then because that was in there, okay, I heard this, and okay, I'm hesitant to say it, but so you're saying, I'm just going to repeat what I heard, that they saw that one negative card and didn't take time really at that point to explore the rest. Is that fair to say? Yes. Okay. So to clarify, there was one negative card because, he has fluctuating emotions, is it primarily due to his health and sometimes catastrophic thinking? Okay. Yes. Is it rooted in any of the reality of what he believes is going to happen in their relationship? No. Okay. So like there was a catastrophic thought and it did wind up making it into, whatever version of the reading there was. Okay. Yes. And then may I ask this? After that, were there other cards that were positive in that exact reading that contradicted, the negative stuff? Yes. And so, you're saying that the person then either did they misunderstand because there was that one card there, or did they just not take the time past that point to really look? Okay. So the energy did exist, but it was such a small portion of things. But then they just really didn't look at everything. Okay. Yeah, I mean, rushing makes sense. They're also rushing. Saw one negative folks. Yep. And they were like reverse or upright if they're moving on, and they said, yeah, no. That's, everybody is different, okay? And just like, I mean, you've sat here with me. I really test people's patience, right? Because I ask the same question 97 times, and I try to explain it too many times because I want to make sure that, like, we really understand each other. And that's annoying in the opposite direction, right? But I do that kind of stuff because I'm afraid, and I witness those other types of things, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm so, and people can get into that energy. That doesn't mean they're horrible people, right? They're just humans, right? But they can get into that energy of like, oh yeah, no, all I need is just this and I can give the answer. Like, I'm totally like on it, and that's pretty arrogant actually, to think with like very little detail, you can flush out the whole of a love relationship between two people, let alone any of the conflict that they're having. Oof. Yeah, that's going a little far too. I already know that that's not how he feels, but I just want you to see it. I know you know it in your heart too, but sometimes it just helps. Okay, it just helps. Um, Guides, God source is there, like any time where, like, I mean, people get moody in relationships, so like I guess like people have different feelings, but has F ever thought that, ever, like for a second, thought that, like, as a whole entire person, L is a bitch? What? Hold on a second. Did I ask that wrong? Has he ever thought that? I think I got confused in the saying it. Let's try again. Has L ever thought? I'm trying to figure out how to ask it, because people will in the moment be like, that was a bitchy thing to say. So okay, let me do this. Has L ever thought that, is it that occasionally when they've had arguments, L thinks, oh, that was a bitchy thing to say? Or is it that L thinks, oh my God, what a total bitch? Like, which is it? Okay. All right. I'll reverse them just to make sure. Is it that it's like just has Elle ever just been like, just a total bitch, that's who she is? Or is it just occasionally there's a comment and it's like, that was a bitchy thing to say? Okay, see. During sex, yes. Well, and like, relationships are so complicated, right? So like, certainly we've all had a dynamic where it's like, yep, that was a bitchy thing to say, but like, that doesn't mean on any planet, on any day, like, has F ever spent more than like 35 seconds thinking that L is a bitch? No. Like, if that thought comes, it's in response to like a singular comment, right? Okay, that's what I thought. Like, because that just happens. People talk about that stuff, but he and here, I'm gonna shake up the rods just for a second. Make sure I'm not wrong. When that person tonight said that F thought L was a bitch, did they have any actual legitimate reason based on what they were looking in the cards to think that? No. Were they saying that kind of stuff for edgy content and just to move through things quickly? Yes. I think it's important to take time if people have it. I think that things like, I mean, sure, when it's a yes and no question, right? Like, of course, like we can, but I talk too much too. So if it was a yes and no question, it wouldn't have been nearly this long. However, it still would have been like 7 or 10 minutes because I'd verify and verify and verify because I want to make sure we're right. But I have a mathematician that runs my stats though too, and so I get real paranoid. My stats are pretty good, like for like an average, like medium. I'm usually like in the like 80, 80s of accuracy, and that's when like I'm having like a rough day. Wait, what? That- like I want to really find, I want to have a reason to like everyone, and I'm sure I could find a reason, right? But like that's that's a little extreme because I'm literally okay. I'm opening a book, one of these silly books. Okay, listen. This is what they say about the Queen of Wands, the people that write about the Queen of Wands. Okay. And in this deck, because it's about these beautiful stories, by the way, it's about these beautiful stories throughout the world. Okay. So this is Pele. And so she's a Hawaiian deity from Hawaii, right? She represents the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands represents a fiery force. The volcano goddess Pele rages can be destructive, but her blessings are just as powerful. She is the creativity of dance, the nourishment of rich soil, and the chaotic force of an explosion. When upright, it's optimism, independence, confidence, passion, and verve. Reversed, it can be jealousy and spite. She saw the queen go wands, not the queen of wands. I'm confused. I mean, you're air anyway. No, you're water. I'm sorry, he's air. He's the Gemini. You're the Scorpio. You're the Queen of Cups, bebe. Like if we're talking about like exactly who you are in the deck, right? You're like the High Priestess, Empress, and the Queen of Cups. Yeah. But I just thought you meant like we were interpreting that particular card. That's what she was doing, was interpreting that one card. So I was reading you the card. Yeah, no, as a Scorpio queen, like you're the Queen of Cups, right? Then a lot of like some of the other signs, like as you probably already know, right? Like, but in the major arcana, some, Cancerian. I'm trying to remember what our exact is, but like, not Cancerian. I'm sorry, water. Water women are like the High Priestess, the Empress, right? Um, on here. So actually, what's interesting is a Scorpio, just a Scorpio, right? Not necessarily a gender, right? Um, but one of the primary Scorpio cards in the major arcana is death. Oh, no, see, I just looked up at the thing. See, And death, always people are always like, oh, death. And it's like, no, death is beautiful. Like it's a new beginning, it's a fresh start. Like it's not a big, scary thing. It's like that whole, it's like Mother Nature. I'm a Cancer, right? And I've had people over the years be like, you're not very Cancerian. They're supposed to be motherly. They're supposed to be motherly, right? And it's like, no, no, no. There's all kinds of mothers. There's Mother Nature. And Mother Nature will burn an entire effing forest down so that new things can grow. And that is born of love, baby. But it is not like, not all mamas are gentle. And yeah, the death card, like people get freaked out, but it's, you already know this stuff, right? It can be big upheaval, but like a lot of time, it's like just finishing a season and moving into like the start of something new. And change is like such an essential part of existence. Like, but people get freaked out at the death card and the devil and, all that kind of crap. This little lady, where is it? I don't know if I'll find it fast enough. Like, let's see. I love this little artist, Kitten Chops, that's done this particular deck. And her interpretation of several different things is interesting. I have a couple of her decks. One of her decks, like for example, the Tower is like the little bride and groom falling off a wedding cake, which is really cute, actually. There's so many freaking cute cards in this deck, but I'm just looking for death because it's really cool how her interpretations of things are really sweet. Come on, it's going to be like the last one. I like the Empress in this one too, actually. I mean, I just like this deck, but come on. Come on, death, baby. Here's death, which I think is so pretty. Death. It's flowers. And this little petal, this part of the flower is dying and is weeping and is helping the next flower grow. And they're all connected under the roots. They're just moving into a different phase of flowerdom, which I think is so pretty. Yeah, absolutely. Sometime I might be killing this thing tonight. Where do you read? Would you tell me? Or like, do you read somewhere, or would you read through email? How would you do it? I guess is probably the question I should ask. How would you do it, Laura? Oof. In chat. Yeah, no, I cannot do that at the moment. But I would really love it sometime if you're open to it. Because my sitter is going to be mad at me. I gotta go relatively soon. If you came back, maybe we could do it. I don't know, like if you have time to come back though. Would you be open? Oh, here, let me give you like, that was a dumb thing. I was going to ask for your email when I can just give you mine, and then you can, if you would like to, send me some stuff and we can connect and figure out how to potentially do it in the future. That would be nice. Oh, excellent. I sort of don't, although I started building one for this stuff today. So that would be lovely. I hope that this was helpful to you. I know I talk too much, but like, it's interesting when I do most of my experience, I've been doing like, it's been more mediumship, right? And then I added cards for like visual effect, but I prefer like rods and other tools. And then I do a lot more mediumship than I do like, my strength is mediumship, I guess I should say. But, oh, that's my train of thought. I don't over talk as much in person, but on the internet, I think it's because there's like a time delay and I feel worried that like people aren't catching everything. Like I just repeat myself way too much. Yes. So if you email me and let me know, like I don't have too much of the Facebook, but I am making one for this. And yeah, we can connect there as well. Yeah, I totally believe that. But I also don't think that you throw down one card and tell people that that's their answer for their whole life either. Just don't get that opinion. Because I don't need the cards. The cards sometimes get in the way. If the guides just, but it's a really boring on the internet to just sit here and watch me go dum de dum 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 de dum. Now it's great, like, that's the part of the thing that I'm the best at. We all have strengths and weaknesses. And, I've been lucky to be able to work with like law enforcement and be helpful in that way and things like that. But when it comes to the cards, because I'm always hearing stuff and yeah, I'm less of a tarot reader, more of a medium. Oh, they absolutely do. I agree with you. Spirit talks through everything, right? Like I have a wonderful friend. She's a painter, right? Now she, much like a lot of us, has always seen like, dead people. She's more clairvoyant than anything, which of course then makes sense with art too, right? But she's definitely clairvoyant, so she's always seen them just like a lot of us. And she channels so much into that art, like it like changes the like she can change the energy in a room. Like I buy a lot of her pieces and like, rearrange them like how some of us rearrange our stones or like whatever it is that we do to like move the energy around in our space. I do it with her art. Yes. Law enforcement. Not tarot though, right? I don't do tarot for law enforcement. And it's not, I don't like work. Let's be clear. I don't like work there permanently. I have consulted successfully, but I have consulted. I've been lucky too because I keep hearing from people that they really struggle, like when they're trying to leave tips and things. Um, that like they get treated poorly, and I want to knock on wood because I don't want it to change for me. But also, I also believe that no matter what kind of energy work or energy translation, one does, they need to be invited, right? And so, unless it's something that like I just can't sleep or eat or whatever, I don't usually leave tips, I usually wind up being invited. Um, Either a couple times it's like, okay, I guess the very first time 20 years ago now, like it was a family member that had invited me to help in that case. But then that same group, after I'd helped them with that, asked me, the people that worked in enforcement at that time asked me to then help on another one, right? And then it sort of rolled out from there. But yeah, like you could probably teach me a fair amount about tarot. I'm always open to learning, and I'm always taking classes, and like, I can like do Thoth and Rider Waite and Lenormand and that kind of stuff. But I really just love hearing the dead voices so much more. We're all different, and all of our skills are really important. We all have different pieces of the puzzle. I get frustrated too when like people don't want to collaborate, when there's like seemingly like competition between people that do this work, because it's like, hey, number one, if everybody's seeing similar stuff, that's a good thing. like if the results are similar, that's a good thing because you're getting a consensus, and like you stand a better chance at actually being helpful when that happens. Just like it, at a like a police station, they all work together. It's not like, well, this officer did it, so I can't do it, or I came up with that idea. It's just weird. I mean, what I would say, the conclusion to your reading, right? Like, I would say, to me, it looked like, I mean, it's we counted down the days, right? Like, to me, it looked like between 23 and 27 days, you guys will be, reunited. You'll not be, like, as we like to say in hippie places, in separation, right? Like, in and so I think, because that's why I had asked earlier if there was distance, because I was like, why is it, instead of just like the same number, why is it between these days? I think it's like you guys will be in some talks before then, and clearly he's watching you, you're watching him, and stuff like that. But something will come where you have like a big important talk and you make the decision, and then in some days past that, to me it looked like you were going to be physically together within a few days, like 4 days of upon deciding. That's what it looked like to me. And that I forgive me, I feel like you both know you'd really like to be together. And I mean, I didn't ask, like, we asked how he felt, so I didn't ask how you felt because you were here, right? So I don't know how you feel about it, other than like, I know you said you love him, right? And you miss him. But to me, it really looked like, there are just some things that like need to be sorted out. And to me, like, okay, it also feels like, well, I'm saying feels like, but I'm hearing something right now. Okay, so what I'm hearing right now too is, when 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 he has like a bad day in terms of like anxiety, I will say anxiety, because I feel like, even though I understand what you said, it feels like the anxiety is actually the worst, is the one that sort of then affects everything more so than maybe the lows, and even some highs, like the anxiety. And so there's some times where he can get in his head about certain things. And I mean, that, right? But so I think what part of why this is good to have this separation is, sometimes when people are having chaotic thinking, whatever, for whatever reason, like I have a partner, in their case, it was like they had substance abuse issues. And when they were like, in a tailspin and things were really wrong, because they're not thinking clearly, they looked to their immediate environment, right? Because they're not thinking step by step by step. And I'm just telling you what I heard, but then I'm using this to just explain. They look into their immediate environment because they're like, something's wrong, right? And then there you are, because you're their person. And so they're like, oh, problem. We're the problem, or you're the problem, or whatever. So I'm trying to explain it using my experience. However, what I heard was the time gap will it's allowing for some of the energy to clear, where now when there's an upsetting day or an upsetting moment, like, he has to own that it's not on you, right? You're not there. He's not in a panic state and then seeing, oh, that's the primary person in my life, so that must be what I'm upset about. When you can't think thoroughly, you just look right, like right here, right? You can't look past that. And so this space of time is going to allow for that energy to clear and to recenter like his thinking in a lot of ways. If that make is that making sense to you? Um and so it's a good thing. Like they were saying, like that's sort of what's in the process of happening, is that he needs to be able to have a bad day or two, look into the environment, you're not there, and then that'll force, thinking beyond just like that limited scope to realize, yeah, it's okay. See, this stuff goes on without my person here. So this is not about the quality of our relationship or our compatibility. This is just, everybody has things they have to deal with. And this is one of my things. And I have a tendency to panic and look in, just not really look far enough for an answer or a solution. And because she's so close to me, he holds you so close to him energetically that you're the first one he sees when something goes wrong. So he assumes it's you or him or the two of you. It's not. So it's a good thing. The space has been a good thing because, he'll remember. He'll remember times before you, and he'll have times, where you're not there causing it. And you never were causing it, right? He needs to experience that, because there's no other thing. There was no big incompatibility that like screamed like, hey, like what are they even doing together? Like you're gonna be back together. And like what was the date? When I counted it, come on, calendar. When I counted 23 days. Like 23 days would be somewhere around the 10th of July, and then like the 14th or 15th would then, be another like thing. You did cause some drama. I mean, like, I think that was obvious in the sense that, when you told the story about about, sending that image, right? But I didn't see it in the cards because we didn't ask like what you were up to. We asked how he thought about you and how he felt about you, not what did you do, right? So I didn't see any of those things. But um and I'm not saying like you're an innocent little lamb, right? But I do think that, he's got to be careful with, especially like when he's feeling panicky about like sort of breathing and maybe even waiting to think about things till later, until some of the worst passes. And so, like, I don't expect you to be a perfect person. And yeah, and the story about the picture, right? Like, I get it. Like, you wanted to take a swat at him, man. Like, that's what happens. Like, that's why love is so hard. It doesn't ever get easier in a lot of ways. Like, I guess as we get older, like, some of it gets easier, right? Because we've had more years to be ourselves and know even more about ourselves and grow and that kind of stuff. But like, and that's wonderful. And so that helps us at least handle whatever goes on between us slightly differently, but stuff still always goes on. It's always going to happen, right? You're not perfect. He's not perfect, but he thinks like the world of you. And I think that you must think the world of him, because both in your actions about saying loving things and really hoping you get back together and that you miss him, but also just even, the fact that you are taking a swat at him and poking the bear, right? Because that's like, if you weren't interested, in him, you would just walk away. Like you're confident, you would have no problem finding another person. You want him, but you do want, to retaliate sometimes because you're a human. And that's just how it works. Like, we all have different temperaments. I don't know that I would ever have done exactly what you did, but I did other completely devious things in my relationships. It just happens. And I think, sometime down the road, you guys will laugh about it too. How can I ask how you met? I know it's getting late, and like really honestly, I have like 4 minutes left before I have to go do something. But because it's really normal to have a commitment in the middle of the night. But anyway, I do have to go do something. But how did you, like, real quick, how did you guys meet? What was, as they say in the movies, what was the meet cute? I mean, so that's genuinely almost like a movie meet cute, right? He sees the girl across the room. She's engaging. She's socializing. She's holding her own on her own, and she's beautiful. And he must talk her into being able to see her again. That's like almost classic movie stuff. That's really sweet. And you're saying he persuaded you. Like, was it was it a spark for him right away and not you? Because sometimes, sparks come at different times. Or did you know and you just wanted to make him sweat a little? Yep. That makes sense. You like making him sweat a little bit in lots of ways, like in the good hot ways, and in the and in the suffer my love, suffer. That's way more interesting anyway. You guys will be the kind of old people that you see at a diner or something together. You see them at a diner or something together, and they're like 85 or 90 years old, and they're still arguing like teenagers, right? Partially because it's like sort of one of their subconscious like flirt languages. You guys are going to be essentially that way because you're going to always like to pick on him a little bit. It's just fun, actually. That's fun. Okay. Well, I know I overtalk a lot. Is there, like, have I left you in any doubt, my dear? Hey, Toast. Toasty. How you is? You're so welcome, Laura. It's been really charming to meet you. I hope you come back. I hope you took down my email. And I hope we at least get to encounter each other again. I think he's coming back, hon. I think he's coming back. What was the one? Okay, my brain wants to double back. What was your love thing? It was abundance, wasn't it? Because they really wanted you to have that. Okay, so it was abundance, right? And it talks about basically because they wanted to give that because they wanted to give you advice. So basically, they're just saying stay out of your own way, manifestation wise, right? With that abundance card, right? Just think positively, Think about all the positive things about the relationship. Think about, all of the lovely things that will happen, you know, once everything has resolved itself. Just trying to stay in positive energy about it. That was their big advice. Yes. I mean, this week, things have happened. Um, this week. My sitter's not here today, but for example, like I predicted a house would be literally offered to them that they didn't even look for within a week, and then it happened in 3 days, and then this week, somebody was a little bit concerned about work and um, negotiations and things for additional time for certain things. I don't want to like break people's confidence, right? But like, I had told them like it was going to be 6 weeks and 1 day, and they were like, 1 day, huh? They sort of made fun of me. And then when the company countered and they were handling their contracts and resolving everything, it was 6 weeks and 1 day. So yeah, I'm pretty accurate. I did a read earlier this week that I was nervous about, where somebody wanted me to read about an active energy in a state prison, and that was sort of new for me. I've read lots of spirit stuff, but like it was remote energy, and like I totally thought, I went in with a sort of preconceived notion, and it was nothing that like I thought it would be. I just kept listening to the guides, and then the crazy thing about it turned out to be that it is an active entity. It is like a spirit, non-physical person, right, that lived there. They managed to tell me like the decade they were born in, the decade they were died in, and I had no idea that some of the people that worked there had worked there for 30 years, and they actually could validate those things, right? I thought it was going to be sort of really up in the air, and I felt anxious about it. I had no idea, but they were able to validate. I got his first and last initial right, and then it got crazier because he wanted to talk about a current prisoner, and he gave me accurately their first and last initial, and they're a current prisoner, and told me about all of these things that goes on with them, certain very specific fears and what they get enraged about, and all of those things were validated. The people really wanted to test me, so they asked if I could give them like a cell number. We got like what cell they were living in, the current person was living in. We got that right. They wanted to know if I could figure out what charges they had. We got that right. I was scared about that because I'd not done that before, but so yes, my things are validated. I'm not perfect, but I'm pretty okay. He will keep watching. What is are you not feeling like you should message him? Hey Toast. I don't like this. Can I Toasty, I'm gonna send you an email. Hold on. Oh, come on. Hold on here. I just need to follow up on this thing before I forget. My people at my house are allowed to now here. Let's see. Since the last time when I wanted to die and made a note, he messaged saying how he was trying to move on and then he had a fight. But even after that and before he'd watch and watch, so he's totally speaking from his butt. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so I sent you that. Wait, hold on. Okay, I sent you that to follow up your thing from the other day, Toast. Okay, Miss Laura, please do email me. My house is getting loud because I need to go and resolve some of the late night vampiric tendencies of my family unit. But will you please come back, my UK darling? I would love to encounter you again. I know that like you did the rounds tonight, right? And you saw 15 of us. You got to be tired of us by now. You're so welcome. I hope to see you soon. And I've got to go take care of some things, but Toast, read your follow up and I'll be in touch. I'll get to see Laura again soon. No, no, there's a lag, so I don't know what that means. Oh, okay. I thought when you said you had the other one earlier tonight, I was like, oh my God, how many readings did she sit through tonight? Okay, so we will see each other soon. And I'm going to tell everybody, that's been in here. Thank you guys for stopping in, whoever has stopped in. Got to see Miss Amanda. I'm sending her love. And we were just sort of casually while we were waiting, working on that pick a card. So that probably, I don't know if it'll be up tomorrow, but it'll be up the next day for sure. And so this is my little remote control dinosaur. So we're going to end here. Everybody, so much love and light and peace and harmony. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.